So the values that I believe I have to be the rising star of the year is just simply staying true to myself in this field. A lot of times we battle with imposter syndrome and always thinking that I'm not good enough, but being able to actually hold on to that value of, no, I am good enough. I am supposed to be here, and making sure that the people behind me also see that. So growing up, I knew that if I stayed inspired in what I wanted to be and I was loud enough, being in beauty could happen for me. And so my parents were both in STEM. They did not force STEM in our household, but they made sure that they knew it was an option. And so growing up, I went to different science fairs. I went to different science museums, did lab experiments at home to know that, hey, this is kind of fun. This is an opportunity for me to get into once I grow up. And so being loud about, hey, I actually like beauty and can I be a scientist in this space? A lot of people gravitated towards me to help me get to that space. And so when I think about Dr. Rolanda Wilkerson, when I think about Dr. Sayo Fakayode, they made sure that they built that path out so that I could be the beauty scientist that I am today. And in doing so, I was able to work in skincare, and now I work in hair care. The contributions that I made to my field is keeping the door open, and keeping the door open in the sense of making sure that I go on to different podcasts, going back to my different schools, going back to different programs to speak about what it is I do today. Because my thing is making sure that other people are aware that this is a roadmap for them, and a roadmap for them in the sense of you can take science and do it in a beauty standpoint. You can be a formulator, you can be a process engineer, you can be in scientific communications. And so I go back to ensure that people are aware that this is a roadmap and help them engage in this spaces so that this way, when they're ready to take that step, they have the mentorship as well as sponsorship. So I can tell you about two people who are mentors in my life that had a very big impact on me. Dr. Sayo Fakayode actually took me in as a freshman at Winston-Salem State University and got me engaged in research. I was a freshman just starting in the summer, so it was summer courses, and he said, hey, you should get into a lab. And I wasn't sure what that was. And by just literally going to him, going to his lab, I was actually able to be in analytical chemistry, doing research, fluorescence spectroscopy to be exact. From there, I was able to introduce myself into different programs, and to this day, he still calls me to check in to make sure that I'm doing okay, making sure that I feel seen in the work that I do, and making sure that I still stay true to who I am. Dr. Rolanda Wilkerson also is another person in my life who made sure that I stayed true to who I am, especially in this beauty field. She was one of the first scientists in this space that I gravitated towards because I just never seen anybody like this, and I never seen anybody talk about it in a way that consumers can understand. And so by having both of them, they were able to cultivate what I should have in my values so that this way I could be successful as a beauty scientist. The one mark that I would leave in my field is to keep the door open, and keep the door open because, again, if we think about hearing about what is science, what is STEM, a lot of times you don't hear that beauty is a way that you can go. You always hear that you can be a medical doctor, which is great. You always hear that you can be a professor, which is great, but you never hear about, hey, I can be a beauty scientist. And so making sure that if we keep that as an option for our youth, they're aware that, hey, I want to be a beauty scientist too. There's many inspiring minds out there that I feel like we can reach, and just letting them know that, hey, being in beauty is an option as a scientist, I feel like they would latch on.